today we've got Russ and Dave from the Military Veterans Football Club. Thank you for taking your time out to talk to us on Beyond the Wire about what you do. And yeah, just tell us about who you serve with, a bit about your service.
You go first, Dave?
Yeah, I think I'll go first because I'm the boring one. Russ is going to tell you about a boy in every port. I mean, sorry, a girl in every port.
What is it we say, Steve?
So for me, I'm ex-Royal Air Force, served from 1999 to 2008. I couldn't sign on for any longer because in my time I got medically downgraded. So I had like a nice laminated biff shit in my pocket as I was walking around camp.
You still got it now?
Yes.
I'm not showing you though. I joined in 99. I got injured actually originally on basic training, so had to be reflighted. I joined on 11th flight and I didn't get back on until the same intake came around the next time because I sprained both my ankles at the same time, which was an experience. I passed out of training early 2000, went to my first camp at RAF Lossiemouth. Massive, I mean, as we all know, massive drinking culture in the forces, and I was kind of the playboy of the drinking, if you like. I could drink more than anybody else, and so people, even when I was skinned, people used to take me out and film me. You've seen how it was a thing, and when it came down to it, I got injured in a car crash in just after Christmas in 2000 when I was in South Africa on a family holiday for a wedding, and that like smashed my leg up, so it stopped all my sports and stuff, and it was hard to deal with. I went through kind of a depression, and with the alcohol already, I suppose the way I already was with alcohol, it wasn't a good mix. So that led to me going through a really difficult time with depression, and I got to a point I didn't have any help from anybody. Nobody steered me anywhere, so I kind of had to, off my own back, decided at a point that I needed to change something or I wasn't going to be here next year, because that's how bad I used to drink. I think the last time I had a drink was in Blackpool in 2004. It was the 8th of February 2024, which was the day before my 24th birthday. And the day after that I've never had a drink since. So I'm just past 21 years. I'm a recovered alcoholic. I mean, I won't touch it again. I know I won't, no matter what happens. I've had some testing times. I didn't even drink at my own wedding. I've not touched anything when I've lost relatives who I was been really close to, including my dad and my nana. And but yeah, so I'm happy that I don't drink anymore. I was lucky enough to meet a young lady, get married, have children. She's all right, like, and yeah, the love of my life.
So what was your role in the RAF?
I was a supplier, so I suppose army versions like RLC would be kind of loosely speaking. I was like storeman, driver, various other roles, but all about looking after the squadrons and aircraft parts, really.
So you weren't RAF Reg then?
No. So that's brownie points already, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
You were hoping, oh God, we've got a good chance this guy could be RAF Reg.
You certainly, I don't know how much you know my story, but when I came out of the Royal Engineers, I descended into cocaine and alcohol addiction. So I can certainly relate to that sort of drinking culture in the military, and then how some of us, we carry it on through, and it just doesn't work, does it?
No, it doesn't. And do you know, I mean, I know a few people who struggle, you know, and like it breaks my heart. You're like, you just want to wave your magic wand, not your type of magic wand. At people that make them better, you know, like help them out. It's always difficult for any of us to see our brothers and sisters in a place of not good.
It's an easy path to take, and it's such a it's hard
It's
to
the
get out.
obvious one, isn't it? With the forces, it's the
and
obvious
it
one.
works. Short term, it works. Then it solves all your problems. But the next day, you've got the same problems. And I think it's hard. I probably drink too much, and I probably been at borderline where it's been a problem. But it's easy to say, you know what, I'm going to have one more night drinking, and I'm not going to drink again. A couple of days later, you go to the pub again. You know, it's hard.
Yeah.
Fair play to you, mate. Really admire what you've done.
Yeah. Well done to both of you for giving up altogether, really. And unlucky for me and you, Steve, I suppose.
We'll go for a beer later.
More for you guys, isn't it?
I'm up for that.
Exactly. What about you, Russ?
Yeah, so joined up same year as Dave. Total coincidence. We didn't know each other at all, obviously. 1999, and then I left in 2013. But so during that time, so Navy, spent far too long in the Middle East, off the nice places, Iraq and Iran and stuff like that. Did a Far East trip, which was nice. Again, whatever you do, if it was good or bad, you drink. That's what we do in the force as a standard. Had a good med trip, went around the Caribbean, chasing drug smugglers. So I had quite a varied career. Not catching your kind at the time, Stu, obviously taking off the streets before I got to you, when you left.
Bastard.
Yeah. If we could have done a better job, it'd have been all right, maybe.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, did you ever cross the equator and do that?
Did the crossing the line ceremony.
Yeah. I saw that on TV the other day.
Did it a couple of times.
Yeah.
The Navy's got a lot of strange traditions, but then it's got a lot of strange people in it, to be honest.
I feel like you need to elaborate here, so I don't even have
the crossing the line ceremony. So when you cross the equator, I won't go in for too long, but Neptune comes up from the lower deck, if you like, and there's bears and there's policemen, and they give you a pill and give you a shave, and it's basically a weekend on the piss at sea. That's what it is. It's a great naval tradition. If you haven't seen it, watch the Warship edition of it. The Warship edition, yeah.
I was shocked. Considering that's on the telly, I was shocked how they just go for it. It's mental.
And I think that was censored a little bit, Steve, if I'm honest. It's pretty brutal. Bearing in mind we had booties on board as well, Marines, so they get involved in it.
I feel like I did this every weekend. Was this just a passing the equator thing?
Oh, no, I mean, we did it most weekends. But yeah, going back to what you've all said there, obviously drinking was part and parcel of the forces. I didn't really struggle. I still like a drink. Probably a bit like you, Steve. I've gone a bit too far on certain occasions, but I'm at a point in my life where I don't. Dave's probably seen that. Where I'm all right with it. I can kind of monitor myself a bit as I'd like to think grown up slightly more when I left the forces and when I was in.
It's a good job your lass left the kitchen, isn't it?
I know, yeah, that's a bit fun. She won't vouch for that. So, yeah.
I think with me, I think it's only my job that stops it, because I do shift work and I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and I couldn't go out for a good drink and then get up at 4:30 in the morning. So that's probably the only reason I ain't gone down that path. Yeah,
definitely.
Sounds like you're living for the weekend.
Yeah.
I only get 2 weekends off a month, so I do make the most of it.
So I think similar to you, Steve, I left by choice. I think when I've listened to you, kind of left by on your own accord. I know, Stu, obviously your backstory and Dave's are slightly different. So I was in the pension trap, if you like. I'd got to 14 and a half, 15 years where I thought, if I don't leave now, that's me for 22. And I was obviously with my wife, and we decided to start a family. So that's why I left, to try and square myself away and grow up a little bit before I got tied in full time, if you like.
He's still working on it.
I'm still trying to grow up. I'm still trying to crack on with that. So yeah, that's kind of the backstory for both of us, really. And then we obviously moved into the different realms, like yourselves, of trying to find what it is when you leave.
Yeah. How was your transition into Civvy Street? Did you have any challenges?
See, mine was almost like delayed. So like I did go through a difficult time, but not when I first left. I was straight in there. When my profession, when I left, is I moved into care. It was just something that was kind of, I've always been a caring person and looked after people. So kind of, it was an easy transition as far as that went. I worked until about 2011 near the camp where I came out, RAF Lehman. Then I moved back to home, which was Washington. moved into working with special educational needs in a school, and did that until about 2019. Then went back in independent living, supporting somebody in their home, until I lost my dad in 2021. Had a massive effect on me. Then I kind of had a bit of time off from probably from about June of 2021 until the next year. I was just in a really bad place, and lo and behold, we'll get to it, but that's when the football club came into being in January 2022.
I think, like a lot of people, when you leave, we've all been institutionalised, haven't we, really? We've been told what to do, when to do it, how long you're going to do it for, where you're going. You know, every single thing's done for you except your core job, if you like. So when you leave, I mean, I struggled putting a washing machine on, I'll be honest. I didn't have a clue. I was panicking, thinking the normal day-to-day things, I don't know how to do that. I'd never cooked a meal in my life because we'd always have chefs, well, people that said they could cook food.
Slap jockey.
We had, Chinese laundrymen back in the day on a warship. That's what we had. So we had everyone doing everything for you except what we was doing, which was, well, I was radar and guns at one stage, and then I kind of went to a supervisory role. So just more like telling them what to do as opposed to doing it, if you like. So yeah, when I left, I got in a bit of a hole, like I imagine a lot of people do. Didn't have any direction as such. And it's hard when you've got a lot of friends who have left and all of a sudden they know what they want to do and when they want to do it, and they just seem to be switched on straight away, don't they? Some people, and fair play, and all my friends that are in that position, I load them up, I love it, that they just found their feet straight away. Probably like a lot of people, I didn't admit it to anyone I was struggling. I just tried to crack on with it and find out what I was going to do. I didn't know what it was. Started working in a factory on the end of a belt, making plastic parts just to make money. And then luckily with kind of the forces work ethic, I think you could call it, I got a supervisory role there as a lead op and kept going and ended up in projects. So luckily with the forces background, I've kind of pushed myself on, where you do get pushed on in the forces, don't you? And in some roles you do anyway. So I was in quite a bit of a hole as well, which I don't mind admitting now. But back then I just tried to get on with it, really.
I was just wondering, do you reckon those people that we see thriving, like, do you reckon they're struggling?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there is that mentality of just, like, just crack on, get your head down and do it. And you don't want to bother people.
Or lie about it and make out that they're thriving because they don't want to admit it. Because I know a few people that have been like that.
Oh, definitely. And it's only your close friends that'll tell you that. You know, I've got a close-knit group still that I see try and see every 6 months or so. And it's only when we've had a few drinks and we'll all open up. We'll do the niceties. How's the family? How's the kids? How's the wife? How's the job? Yeah. Right, let's get pissed. How's it really? Actually, I'm in a bit of a hole, mate, to be fair. And you go, I thought everything was all right. But it's the bloke thing, isn't it? It's the stigma, as we know, of talking about it, But if you've got those close-knit groups, keep them. That's all I'll ever say. Keep in touch with those people because they'll pull you out of the hole eventually when you're in that darkest place on your own.
What I will say about mental health is you can educate yourself as much as you want and try and...
Sorry. The black cat.
However, lads.
But get rid of it. Hold on.
No, you can know as much as you want about mental health, but unless you actually go through it, you don't know.
Yeah.
You kind of don't know.
No.
I'm not trying to belittle anybody out there who's helping people, because that's great, and I think it's fantastic that as many people want to help as possible.
Yeah.
But I'll admit, through COVID, I kind of helped people around the world, like just on like platforms, social media platforms and stuff. But until I was really hit hard when I lost my dad and a few other things were going on, like it just shocked me. I would get anxiety would jump on me and I'd be curled up in a ball and like I had no control of it. And the only person who really saw that was Laura, and she like did what she could to help me, and she was great, and it's lucky to have that kind of support.
Yeah.
But we're not all lucky enough to have that support.
Like you said there, I think anything like mental health, addiction, I think lived experience is invaluable. Do you know what I mean? Like you can read all the books in the world, and there is a place for that. But to have been through it and come out the other side, I think is where the real magic happens for giving back. And it was interestingly, so we spoke to Andy from Healthier Heroes the other week, and it came up. So one of my things is, like, as you said, Russ, there's this stigma about men talking, and it's okay to talk. And I think that's brilliant. Very good. Like, it does help. But what I question is, it's all well and good posting this on social media and playing along with it. But I always urge people, like, if you're that friend of someone and they come to you and go, mate, like, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z, don't be that friend that goes, come on, let's just go down the pub.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a place for that, but just be mindful that ain't the solution.
No.
And Andy made a good point about, and this is part of the reason why we like doing this Beyond the Wire, to try and give people information, because there is stuff out there like yourselves. Like, do you know what I mean? If you're up in the northeast and someone comes, your mate comes to you and goes, oh, I'm struggling, I'm a bit down. It's like, oh, as you say, I'm not a mental health professional, but I know these guys that run this football thing, and let's go to that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And as daft as it sounds, just like what we do, obviously we'll touch on it a bit further along, but a 1 hour football session a week gives you so much, because you're around people that understand you, first and foremost. You've got a bit of fresh air, you're doing a bit of exercise, you can have a bit of crack that you wouldn't normally in your normal workplace, because you're not really fully understood, let's say, because you know you've got a sense of yourself a little bit, as we all do nowadays. So I think just doing something different for yourself like that can be very beneficial.
100%. So by the sounds of it, you both had took different paths coming out of the military. So how did you converge on the military veterans football?
So like I was saying, I was struggling towards the back end of 2021, losing my dad, and Laura had spotted that there were some veterans activities going on. So, like, the veterans community was kind of something that I was very unaware of, and that's just only going back 4 years, 2021. And Laura just kind of urged me to, like, almost go and kind of immerse myself in it, get to know people and talk to people. And she just said, you love football and you love where you come from. You love that you served and you come from a family of people who've been ex-forces, and why don't you start a football session? But rather than just say, find 10 people to come play football, she was like, right, I've booked you a pitch. 6th of January 2022, technically the day the landscape changed in Sunderland, and just off the back of that one session, we had me and 9 other people turn up for session. Then within weeks, people were texting, asking questions. We've seen this in Sunderland. Is this something we'll have somewhere else? And I think, was it early May? By early May time, we had to do something to change. So we started the Community Invest Company, MVFC, Military Veteran Football Club, as we know it now, and that just had a massive effect for me. So when we first started, there was me, Laura, the long-haired general, and John Quinn, who was a veteran I had met doing kind of charity work from about 2017. So we had that in common, being Mackems and being ex-forces. He was a medic for 24 and a half years, and I was RAF for 9 years. And me, Laura, my wife, was how old were you when your dad left the forces?
15.
So he had done
25 years.
He'd done about 25 years, and so Laura grew up in the forces. So we had that, we had a pad Brad and an ex-army, ex-RAF. Then a little while down the road, we were looking at fulfilling our quota and getting a Navy boy in. Ta-da!
Here he is.
And there was nobody else available. So
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I go, it's snowballed really quickly. I think at one point we branched out very quickly into over the next year, probably into about 12 sessions, I think, roughly. And over the last, that was after 1 year, and we're 3 years in now. I think we've got, what did we say, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sessions at the minute. But I think we were very keen at first just to let's go, the sessions, they were very organic at first. And some of them kind of fell away, but it wasn't through any, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't through any foul or anything like that. It's just the way it went, with anything. Yeah. At the end of the day, in some sort, we're a business, although it's not something we get paid for, any of us, but it's a community-ness company, non-for-profit, trying to make people's lives better. So we've got 7 solid sessions at the minute, and
are they dotted around the country, are they? Or are they?
So we've got 2 in Sunderland, 1 in Darlington, 1 in Middlesbrough, 1 Millwall, Plymouth and Liverpool. So yes, they're dotted about. There's a good distance between a lot of them, but there's, I suppose, more than half of them are in the northeast. But it's always something we're looking to kind of expand, but it just has to be. I mean, we'll come on to it in a bit when we talk about how people get involved. But it's something we'd like to do in the future, and a lot of it's around finding the right people and funding. And
I mean, it sounds like you're going from success to success, but were there any challenges in the early days, or are there any challenges still that exist?
I feel like, Laura, you can jump in here and talk about it.
Oh, God. Okay.
Because she's probably the best person to answer this.
Can you hear her? Go on, you're
yeah, you can hear.
Funding is definitely a huge thing for us. I think that there's a stigma that we're just a charity that's got people coming to play football. What possible good could that do for anybody?
Who says that?
Oh, genuinely, it's a real thing. So we noticed it recently because we were in a poll with some other charities to receive some money, like a donation. And quite a few of the comments were, why are people voting for football when there's all these other amazing charities? So that was quite a wake-up call for us, because obviously we know on the ground what we're doing, we know who we're helping. But it was quite a wake-up call to realise that people just see us as football and nothing more.
Sorry, I think I'll just go back to my bit here then, Stu, and see if that's all right. So obviously I didn't start the club with Laura, Dave and John. So obviously I was just working normally, and then I'd played a bit of football while I was in the forces. Not even a decent standard, I won't lie. I was all right. I was half cut off most of the time anyway.
I've seen him play without alcohol. I guarantee he's better with it.
I was going to say, there's not much grass on a ship, is there?
Yeah, you have like little wrapped up balls. We lose a lot, obviously. So yeah, I used to play when we got ashore, different team. Played in Beirut once in a weird stadium. So I played in some random places around the world. Anyway, so come back to Sunderland, if you like. So working normally and fancied a bit of five-a-side. And I realised how difficult it was just to get a few lads together at work anyway and book a pitch and people be reliable. And because I kind of done it myself, I tried to book a pitch and people would turn up and then people won't turn up. You end up forking out your own money for it.
Yeah.
And they're not cheap, pitches aren't cheap. So when you kind of look at all that, you think, hold on a minute, what is available? And I think I was randomly on Instagram. I'm not on Instagram, by the way. I know I probably should be, and so should Dave, but we're not.
I'm on Instagram.
You're on Instagram, yeah. But I found it on there, so that's what I did. So I found Military Veterans Football on there, looked at this poster, and I thought, it's going to be full of absolute ballers and athletes. So I bottled it.
Yeah.
Honestly, I bottled going. And I think I messaged Laura. Obviously, I didn't know who Laura was at the time. And just said, is there any more sessions? When are they? And I kept putting it off and I kept putting it off. And again, the self-doubt, it's all in there, isn't it? Everything's in there. And I just kept kind of worrying about it. And in the end, I was like, do you know what? I need to go. Because similar to Dave, joined up similar, but I lost my stepdad, ex-Navy veteran as well, in a tragic accident, coming up 5 years now, which put me in a bit of a hole as well. So I was already in a bit of a hole leaving the forces and not having direction. And then when that happened as well, it put me a bit deeper. So I needed something to pull me out, but I didn't know what it was. And I went to the first session. I can't remember when mine was. It's about 3 years ago, maybe, isn't it? And that 1 hour, for me personally, changed my life.
Yeah.
As stupid as that sounds, and as it sounds like I'm exaggerating it, but it changed my life there and then, because I thought, right, this is what you need for now. And it was just that this is what you need for now. You need to get yourself out and about, mixing again, especially with veterans. Obviously, the crack was there straight away, and you could say and do what you wanted, and that's what I enjoyed. Because, like I said, we have to kind of censor ourselves because we know what we're like. So yeah, got involved in the football, and then started going every week. And I got to a stage where I was addicted, the other way around. So not to drink or drugs or anything. I was addicted to that. I need to be playing football on a Thursday, that 1 hour. So I was that looking forward to it that much. I had to do it. I got to a stage where I needed that. As daft as it sounds, I got a buzz from turning up and playing football.
Yeah, well, you do, don't you? As you said, it's that physical exercise, getting outdoors. A lot of us love a bit of football, and as you said, it's that camaraderie again, isn't it? Like what we've been missing.
Do you know what it was, Stu? It was that 1 hour on my own, not in my head, out of my head, and not worrying about anything. And that's what it gave me personally. And again, it kind of organically grew for us and with John. And then I got the message to just say, we'd like to get you on board. Excuse the naval pun. But we'd like to bring you on board and get a Navy lad involved. So then we became tri-service with Navy, Army and Air Force.
But what Russ was talking about there, about how he felt before he came in, how long it took him to get there, it's not an uncommon thing. There's been occasions where I've actually met people away from the session to talk to them, to make them feel better about coming, going and meeting somebody for a brew, or even as simple as coming up to the front doors of the facility to meet somebody before you walk in, everybody's different, and you work out that when somebody books on at the session, they don't come in, you think like, what's going on there? So you like kind of drop a message just to say, is everything okay? I noticed you booked on, but you didn't come. Is anything can help with? And I suppose, obviously, knowing about the change it made for us, with our mental health and stuff, and how it changed for other people. You come more aware of it as you go along. So it's kind of almost second nature now, checking on people, and one of the big things is we don't like to harass people that come to a session. We'll get permission to put people into text groups, and it just basically goes from my phone and I text, and it goes to everybody individually, but I just send as I want to. So like if people can at the same time, they can just tell me they're not interested anymore, and I'll remove it, remove the numbers from the text. And it's great to not force people to come, because that's the last thing we want to do, because I know that I would probably get switched off from wanting to come if I was in that position and I felt the same way, and
it's almost like it's there if you want it. It's there if you want it, or it's there if you need it, and that's how it feels.
And
isn't
football, as we've all kind of alluded to, is just a facilitator for getting people together to the same place to enjoy each other's company, and a lot of things have come off it. And it's
do you have people who come who don't play, who just watch?
Yes. So like we've got a guy. So Millwall set up just about a year ago. They have like a whole community built around their session.
Yeah, I've been there. I went there.
So you went and played them, didn't you?
Steve likes to watch. He's a watcher.
I'm a watcher. I like watching men.
What about football?
Right,
okay.
So I mean, John Scarborough down at Millwall, he got in touch with us about a year ago, said, listen, we've had some funding with Sky Bet, would love to partner with you, would love to have a session, but there's other things around it that are going to be involved. They've got some RBL representatives come to every session. I think before every match they have like a little bit of a breakfast or a get together for the veterans, and it's turned out really well there. And so one of the things on our stats is I tasked Laura and I said to her, I said, who's the oldest person who's ever come to our session? And when I asked the question, I thought, even in my head, I thought, oh, who's the oldest person who's played? But, like, it's not about that. So there's a young gentleman by the name of Sam who goes to Millwall, who's 73 years old, turns up for every session, doesn't kick a ball, comes for the crack, and what a boy he is.
I stood there with him. The whole game I stood there with him having a laugh.
Yeah.
Brilliant bloke.
I would do, I would do anything just to, like when I go down there, I've hurt my back, I don't play anymore, but I tend to gravitate towards Sam, and I just love his company, and he messages me back and forwards every now and again, and I just love that friendship, because originally I believe his family are northeast. I'm pretty sure I come from Newcastle area. So he gives me a little bit of crap about that being the Sunderland fan, but yeah, it's very much not all about playing football. It's about a togetherness and a community.
So how does it work? So obviously you said you're obviously up in the northeast, you've got several venues, Millwall, Plymouth. What, I take it they're on different days during the week, or what's it take to run? Like, are you guys dotting yourself, having to travel around the country, or do you have regional coordinators, as it were?
So it's kind of works by word of mouth for the further away sessions, our Liverpool session started with a gentleman called Darryl Groves, and he was a friend of, I think, was he a friend of John, Laura? Mm-hmm. So he was a friend of John, one of our directors. So he had mentioned to him, and he was like, "Oh, I'd start the one up in Liverpool, no problem." Then I think Tam in Plymouth was a friend of Darryl. Is that right? So then that's how Plymouth started, because Darryl spread the word to a friend in Plymouth. And, we've put messages out before into different areas and utilising kind of other people as well. So like Armed Forces Breakfast Clubs, for instance. So like if we ever start a session somewhere, we kind of link in or look to see what the local services are. Or if we're looking to be somewhere, to kind of gauge an interest and ultimately potentially find somebody who's interested in starting a session. But like, as you know, although the Armed Forces network is massive, you're never 3 degrees of separation from anybody in the forces in the forces community. Oh, hey. So I read it. So central website. So we've got a website to register and book onto sessions. So that's kind of once anybody wants to join, they come and register on our website. Then they can book onto whatever sessions near them. So all the admin is kind of done here, but it's used everywhere. So the website, Laura, what's the website? www.militaryveteranfootball.co.uk. So you go on there and look to register. Then once you've registered, you can find the individual sessions. They're quite easy to find through the tabs. All of our sessions are evening sessions. And all of the sessions are run by our session managers who give up their own free time to facilitate a session. So like what they do for us is absolutely magical. It's we couldn't appreciate them anymore, and or thank them anymore.
I think that's the beauty of it, Stu, because it's run for veterans, by veterans, or serving members.
Do people have to pay to join up, or is there a cost at all?
So to register, there's not a cost. The sessions themselves, there is a cost at the minute. Obviously, the long-term goal of Military Veteran Football Club is to access all that good funding and make it a free session anywhere in the country, That's what the long-term goal is. As for our session managers, in running a session, we send them all the equipment. They get all their merch to wear for the session, you know, anything they need so they can show off the badge and represent us. And they'll have like codes of conduct to sign and read. And it's nothing too over the top. It's just, it's more about that the core values are met and that all the sessions, wherever you go, should ideally roughly be the same. So if we've got a couple of guys up here who are truck drivers, you know, and it's for them, they could be anywhere in the country, and if they're close by to one of these sessions, they could just walk in and ideally it'll be just the same.
Yeah, it's good.
I'm still sort of pissed off hearing about how people are putting down going it's just football, but have you been able to get funding from anywhere? Have you got support?
Yeah, so this is what Laura is constantly plugging away at in the background. Obviously, we know, me and Dave and John, how hard she's working to get that. We do get little bits of funding every now and then, but not enough to make the sessions free. But what we can do is sometimes discount the sessions, whether that's just for 1 week or for a month, if you like, and try and do group bookings or block bookings. But at the minute, the money that people pay to join a session covers the pitch fees.
Pay to go to a session.
So it just pays enough for them to come onto that session for the pitch. But as I was saying before, it's still a lot cheaper than when me personally, because I understood what it was like to try and book a session. So it's not that pricey, but obviously the end goal is to try and get it for free for veterans around the country.
The idea is nobody pays any more or less than anybody anywhere around the country. What you have to remember is the pitch prices down south are a little bit more than you are up here. So it's kind of getting everybody to pay a standard fee of, I think it was sit at £3.50 a session for an hour session of five-a-side football. You know, it's not anything that's blowing anybody out the water, but at the same time, we're very aware that even that little amount can make it inaccessible to some people. So we're very open to people getting in touch or letting us know if they can't afford it or not, and we'll look to try and help out where we can, you know. But the best person to elaborate on the funding is behind the camera.
Camera shy.
She is camera shy.
Just before that, Laura, I won't mention names or areas, but a lad I know, ex-Navy lad, he pays £7 an hour for a football, and that's
in Pompey, is it?
I just said I won't name names or areas.
I said it in Pompey. Sorry about it.
Well, to be fair, we went through a phase of at my work doing like hiring a pitch once a week. And it was a lot more than £3.50 each, I can tell you that. So to me, £3.50 is a bargain.
Yeah, so we've had some funding from the National Lottery Community Fund. And when we first started, the Foundation of Light got involved with us, and they had some funding, which helped pay for pitches and things.
Through the Veterans Foundation, wasn't it?
Yeah. The biggest problem that we have is that the funders like you to collaborate with other services. And yes, we will work with anybody, and we do work with other services. But a lot of the other services have activities on during the day, whereas our demographic of people who attend our sessions work through the day, which is why we decided to put them on in the evenings. So it's really hard for us to find somebody that we can collaborate with. A lot of the football clubs as well. So for instance, we're lucky to be working with the Foundation of Light and Millwall Community Trust, but there are quite a few football clubs out there who've already got their own sessions that they're running for free. So it's hard to make those connections and get that kind of almost standing behind you to be able to go into the bigger funders and say, listen, well, we're working with this person, we're working with that person, and this is what we're doing. And quite a lot we get turned down because not everybody wants to talk about their mental health. So it's hard to get those statistics to show, like, this is the impact that it's really having coming to the football. So a lot of people do just have that view that we were talking before about it just being football. So we're working on trying change things so that we can get people to kind of tell their story and what difference the football makes to them, so that we can then go and show the impact that it's having to try and access more funding. But a lot of that costs money to be able to do that. And obviously, if we've not got the funding in the first place, then it's just kind of a vicious circle. And we don't want to continue to put the prices up to be able to do those kind of things. Because like we said, we want it to be free. It should be accessible to everybody. If you're coming to football to come and help with your mental health, it should be the same as being able to go to like Andy's Man Club, where you can just turn up for free. And you know, that's the long-term goal. Because we're a community interest company as well, we struggle more for funding, because you have to show that you have a trading element, so that you are almost self-sufficient. So we have looked into potentially going for charity status, so that we don't have to have that anymore. But it's just having the time and the resources to be able to go for that. But it is definitely something that we're looking into to access more funding and to reach that goal of sessions being free everywhere.
Isn't there certain funders won't even look at you unless you've been trading for years?
So we've just hit the 3-year mark, so that's starting to open more doors for some funders. But being a community interest company is more difficult, and I suppose really we didn't really look into the structure properly. We just knew that we needed to be registered in some form because we were getting so much interest in having sessions in other places in the country. And we just wanted to give people that reassurance that, you know, we are registered. But hopefully now that we've hit the 3-year mark, that'll open more doors for funding, and if we go for charity status as well. But I think generally from a lot of people that we speak to, funding is just harder to come by now than it ever used to be.
I get that. You mentioned there about, so one of the questions was about success stories, and I understand that doing a case study may be difficult, but I'll make up in my head. I guarantee if I ask you now, like, tell us some success stories, you'll have a few.
There's been quite a few success stories, and we have done case studies before through the funding that it's been almost like a requirement for the funding that we've had with the Foundation of Light, that we've put a few case stories forward. But when you say success stories, there's been success in different ways, you know. We had one guy who was really anxious, and he struggled to come to a session to begin with, and was in a bad place. I'm pretty sure he's now just passed and registered as a nurse, which was unreal for him, to get that confidence up and to be able to do that. And it almost, you're dead proud of people for doing what they do, you know, like they might have been in a bad place and they might still struggle at times still, but to be able to almost, I don't know how to put it, it's almost like an awakening. It offers you something different coming to a session, and this will go for many different people doing things for veterans all over the country. You know, there's so many people doing good stuff. And so it's fantastic to see, you know. Like,
I was going to say, the beauty of it as well, Stu, you know, not everyone has got issues. Not everybody has. Some people leave the forces, like we said before, and are absolutely spot on, and they just want to kick about. And it's as good as them. It's as good for them as everybody else. But then if people do have a few issues and they come along, and if it can help one person, then it's worth doing.
Of course.
You know, and we you know, again, we can't name names, but we've had people that have kind of confided in us separately, and, you know, thanks very much, just for that chat, just for that time, just for that extra little bit that people need sometimes, you know.
And that that's a success story to me. Like every the fact that you're expanding from your little outfit and you're expanding Plymouth, Millwall, and you've got people that want to come. It's the type of success stories that you can't really put down on paper. Do you know what I mean? And that's the beauty of it. Like, being able to see someone, like you spoke about how someone may be a bit reluctant, he's on the periphery, and Like, I don't know, 2 weeks later, he's like leading the way sort of thing.
Yeah. You know, we've been lucky to forge relationships with people, you know, like in Sunderland we have a great relationship with the football club and the foundation, and some of the success stories is there's stewards working in the ground on match day who've come through our sessions, you know, because of the relationship we've built with them.
That's what it's given. It's, you know, it's given a new network for these people as well, and helping them along in different ways, and then you know, friendship groups that grow organically off that as well. And then, you know, family day, beach days, everything that we do this way, which we try and replicate as well around the country.
I mean, you've just, I mean, you know, you'll have spoke to Chris about the Royal Tank Regiment just coming to a tournament we had a couple of weekends ago. You know, like that's 160 people from 16 teams in Sunderland. And some have come from, obviously the RTR guys have come from all over the shop. You've got Blackburn Rovers veterans teams there. There's other teams that have come from around the country. Then there's dotted in with local teams, you know. It wasn't just a tournament for veterans, although it's run by veterans. It's more about breaking walls down, you know. Like, not all veterans can just be with veterans all the time, you know. And it's about giving exposure to
the wider community,
to engage, and us to engage with them, you know. It's great on them days when the tournaments are on, even though it's hectic. There'll be times where you'll be stood there for just 2 minutes drifting because you're enjoying how much it means to get all them people together, you know.
Just to hire a quick stat in, so over the sessions, there's been 520 veterans and serving forces are registered with us now. So that's a good number.
Yes, impressive.
That's what I mean. Like, at the end, what did you just say? How many people came up for that tournament?
160.
That's 160 players. That's just the players, you know. There's probably about another 100 people dotted around who travel with the teams, families and friends, and probably more than that, you know. You can't really count.
Yeah, you got these Steves that just like to watch and
that. You've got them,
So I go online tonight or tomorrow. What can I expect? So I sign up. My local one's in Plymouth. What can I expect? What happens?
So you would, from signing up at the website, you would have all the details there of where the session is, what time it is. You can book onto it there. Then you would expect any extra information to be there. So just for instance, if you would get a message if you were going to go to Plymouth, that actually the car parks, you need to register at reception for car park, you know.
That's good, yeah.
Then you would have the name of the session manager and where to meet him. You'll get a text as well when you register for the session for the first time with all that information in as well.
And then for us, obviously inform the session manager that someone new's coming that week. Just give the details, and then they'll meet and greet them as they turn up. You don't even have to turn up and say, I'm Russ, I was ex-Navy, I did blah, blah, blah. You just turn up and play football. That kind of just comes... I mean, I'll be honest, some people, we don't know how long they served. You know, unless... Well, we do from, obviously, the signing on, but what I mean is not everybody will know absolutely everything about everyone, and they'll have known them for about 3 years. It's, you know, it's a strange thing, isn't it? It's a beautiful thing. Because you don't have to ask it and you don't have to tell it. It's entirely up to that person themselves how much they want to talk or not talk or what they get out of it. It's up to that person, really.
So you said it was, what is it, 5-a-side?
Yeah, so the majority of 5-a-side, yeah.
So what is it, a case of turn up, pick teams, and then away you go?
Yeah.
Session manager's got his kit, he's got his bibs. He'll put people into teams and play from there. If anything, obviously, if things are looking a bit too one-sided, he might just swap a couple of people over, you know, just to even it out. But the beauty of it is, it doesn't matter what your ability is, or like how long you've served or anything like that. You know, it's you come, you get on the pitch, you play.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're Ronaldinho or Billy the Fish and goal, it makes no difference.
As Dave was before I got injured.
Yeah.
But no, that is the ethos, you know. It doesn't matter how long you served, if you're still serving or a veteran, what arm of or length of the service you're in, what standard you're at. All standards are welcome and always will be.
What gender makes no difference.
Doesn't make,
We've got in Sunderland we've got a female in Sunderland, a female in Middlesbrough, and I'm pretty sure Millwall have got a female in their session as well.
Yeah.
And they're all just
welcome.
as dedicated and welcome as anybody who goes to any of the sessions. It's fantastic.
I was going to say, once the sessions are up and running as well, some people naturally just change teams or go, I'll go on that team. So the session manager doesn't even, like they can see it for themselves. We do have a lot of people just coming back week after week, so we get to know them really well. So you do kind of know the standards. So before the sessions, we can kind of have a quick look and go, right, we need to do that with the teams. But other players that are brand new, you don't know until you get to know them a little bit.
So I take it it's more about, not so much the winning, it's just the playing.
It's just been there. It's just been there.
You don't keep score of the game or anything like that. It's just
that's what the kickabouts are all about. Then obviously you've got the tournaments where a bit more competitive and.
Yeah. In terms of people getting involved or supporting, what can people that may be listening to this do apart from sign up and come and play football?
We're always looking for sponsors. If anybody wants to sponsor, but generally session managers get in touch through either Facebook messages or through email. So if anybody is wanting a session in their local area, they're more than welcome to get in touch and we'll kind of go through the process with them. I think the biggest thing for us is that we don't want to step on people's toes. So if there's a veteran session a mile down the road from you, we're highly unlikely to set up another one in that area, just because people are already doing good things.
We'd much rather signpost them people to something that we know is happening already. It's not about one of the things that sometimes people can be very precious about. Like we could be very precious about only wanting people to come to our sessions because it's our football. Well, it's not. That's not what it's about. It's about the veteran. It's about the person who gets in touch. So if there's something that already exists there, then that's what we'll be looking to do, getting them into a community that already exists.
Yeah,
that's brilliant to hear. Actually, it's one of my bugbears with the veterans charity third sector that there's too much. This is my veteran. Even though there's a charity down the road that could probably support them better, it's like that.
Well, that's it. Like if somebody comes to us and they want to find out information, and it's not about football. We know so many great charities that are close by us in our area, who we can just say, right, if you're struggling with your mental health, have a go and chat with these guys. These guys will support you.
It's good.
But that's part of the thing with learning about the different areas that we're going. We kind of pull up and have a look at what's there so that every session manager knows, right, I've got this by me. I can signpost into there for anything that's not directly to do with football,
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So is there potential to say Steve wants to set up a session? Can he, are you encouraged? Do you want people to do that? Obviously, bearing in mind if there's something local, then maybe it's not ideal. But
well, that's exactly what it's about, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's exactly what it's about. So, Stu, it's Stevenage based, is that right?
Yeah, Hertfordshire.
Yeah. So they said there's not one in that area, and Stu just dropped, as an example, dropped a message. Laura would pick the message up, have a look. Right, what's in that area? Is there a goals? Is there this? Is there that? What are the pictures? What are the fees? And she'd just start the ball rolling, and they'd have the dialogue, and then it kind of just grows from there.
Yeah.
And then you see what's your catchment area? Is there a reserve base? Is there an army base? Is there this? Is there that? And you see, exactly what you've got around you. There's no point in setting one up in the Outer Hebrides, let's say, where old Jack, who was in the Navy in World War II, wants a session, and it's just him turning up, So you need it to kind of be realistic. You want a minimum of 8 to 10 players weekly, let's say, to make the session work, and just I'll touch on something actually. We've got another stat there. So we've had a highest of 28 session in Sunderland 1 week. So we can kind of go from 8 to 28 depending on people's work, shift patterns, holidays, kids' arrangements, whatever's going on in their life. So we can book more pitches if we need to.
Yeah. So like around the country, if all of our sessions running that week, we're average around about 85 veterans a week come to sessions. So that's something that we're kind of immensely proud of, that's available for people. And like Russ said before, 520 registered military, either serving military or veterans. Who access our sessions.
And
it's amazing.
I think, considering you've been going, you've just hit 3 years. Let's be honest. Well, it sounds like Laura's done most of the work, to be fair, but
all of the work, all of it.
How it is.
We're just the poster boys.
Yeah, there you go.
It's the poster boys.
I've got a face for radio.
But you know what I mean? Like 3 years, and it's just been like you guys doing it, and I think it's quite incredible. And as for these people that don't see the benefit in football, like I'm still reeling in that, but
give your heads a wobble.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's not the football. It's just an excuse to get together, and that's what it is.
Exactly.
Bit of banter, bit of it helps with the mental health.
It's building communities. We're now sitting with 7 different communities around the country of veterans and serving members, and we're very lucky to be in contact with other people who've got nothing to do with our football. People like the Royal Tank Regiment, the team, and we've now met them, and I've been speaking to Chris for quite a while now, and what a nice guy he is, and
top bloke.
But he's
terrible haircut though.
That mullet just isn't in fashion anymore.
Sorry.
Do you know when he turned up for the tournament, and I had been speaking to a couple of his lads who come in before him. He walked in, I was like, "Oh, you're Chris, aren't you?" He says, "How did you know?" They said, "You had a shit haircut." But like for meeting someone like Chris, there's other people attached to different teams, to different organizations. There's many people out there who we talk to, and it's been. I know it's only been 3 years, but it's been an absolute whirlwind, but an absolute pleasure to meet people everywhere we go,
Sorry, I was just going to say other things we get involved in. Remembrance Days. We've done a pitch walk up in Sunderland. Dave got the privilege to lay the wreath on the pitch this year through the association with the club that way. We go to the cenotaphs. We lay the wreaths there, and we want a new volunteer every year to do it. So we just keep it moving for everyone else, so they've got something if they want to do it as well.
Yeah, it would be quite easy to lay the wreath every year, but like giving other people opportunity and to be proud about what they do and to represent our football club wherever they may be, is something we know people are proud of, and it just. I've got my hairs on end now talking about it. It's just like it's a pride thing, and just people are amazing, and we love that we've got the family we've got.
Yeah, and I think that's what football is. I mean, a true football transcends any sort of rivalry. Like like football's there to bring people together for people to talk, and it's not just about the winning. It's not just about the scoreline. It's about that's it's not about your Premier League money. I know that because I'm a Luton fan, but but that's what it is, isn't it? It's that it brings people together.
It's a beautiful game for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Did he say Luton fan?
I'm not repeating it.
Index.
So what does the future hold for military veterans football? What's in the pipeline?
Well, I mean, ultimately, we've already touched on it. We want to continue to grow and have more sessions around the country, expanding that family and those communities, if you like, and just kind of build on the opportunities available to our attendees,
At the minute in Sunderland, people have had quite a few opportunities. It's something that we would like to have everywhere. Anybody who comes to any session anywhere, building relationships with either local clubs or local companies and charities to kind of improve things for the people who come to our sessions. Because like we touched on before, again, we're not precious about the people who come to our sessions, and it's all about veterans and serving members and their communities and offering whatever can be offered to them, whether it's us or it's somebody else who we can signpost to, you know. And that kind of leads on to us wanting to collaborate with more charities and kicks around the country, you know. The network that we can build and with other people is only going to make things go from strength to strength, not only for our football club, but for veterans as a whole, you know. And I know I keep on throwing the word veterans out, and it's military veteran football, but like I just need it to be made clear that it's about people who are serving as well. And we've got people who are serving, who go to sessions, who there's a guy in Sunderland, he's been a we call him scaly brats in the RAF. He's been in the RAF with his father all his life. His father's left, he's still serving, but he lives in Sunderland now, and ultimately when he comes out he's going to be in Sunderland, but he's already got that community now. Before he's even left the forces. I mean, that might be in years to come that he leaves. He could be in for another 10, even 20 years, you know, but he's already got them foundations.
We've got a few. We've got a lad who's just leaving the army who's been coming for, I'm going to say, a year at least. So he's got that network around him as well. Which is something, looking back, I wish I had personally when I was coming out as well. And probably a lot of people, it resonates with a lot, I'd imagine. And we've got other tournaments up and coming as well. We've just obviously done the VE Day tournament. We've got how many next year? At least.
So we'll have two stable tournaments, which is the VE Day Cup and the Remembrance Shield. So obviously May and November. But depending on how things go over the next, I don't know, year or so, there might be scope for different things. We always are talking to people who get in touch about wanting potentially to do memorial trophies and things like that. So those are options, and but for now, there's just those two. But we scope for more.
I was going to say we did one. I touched on it before about my stepdad, Pat Field. So we did one called the Pat Field Shield, just because it was easy to rhyme, to be honest. And he'd love that. So we did that one for him and obviously my family and everyone as well. And we got a team together and went down. I'm Hull originally. Sorry, because I know obviously we stayed up and went down. I didn't want to mention that bit, sorry. But yeah, I went down. We took a team down.
He's a season ticket holder at Sunderland, and he's going to Wembley on Saturday.
Oh, Dave, don't say
that. Tucked it right up there.
Fucking hell. Yeah, he's right though. So yeah, we took a team down again against a local charity down there, a veterans charity. They pulled a team together and we managed to do a full day's, a good game down there and a raffle, and all went for a beer after it. And so, you know, so it was quite nice for me, being part of MVFC, to be able to do that as well. And everyone attended it, and it was a great occasion. And we might bring it back in the future. We don't know yet. Again, it's just another one that we've got the opportunity if we want to bring it back. I think it's finding what's right for you. Yes. You know, which one is it? What suits you best? What suits your needs? And even if we say it is just football, it gives you a lot more. So, you know, give it a go as a starter. If it's not for you, we can help you go somewhere else. We can signpost something else if you need it.
Can I just say, since Russ first got in touch with you, we've been kind of listening into some of your podcasts. I have to say, I know you guys have not been going for very long, but from what we've seen, yous are a credit to us, to where you've come from, the people you know, and to the armed forces community as a whole, mate. What you're doing, and you're like pushing boundaries a bit, and it's all about informing people. and you're doing a smashing job. So thanks, guys, thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
And keep up the fantastic work that you're doing, man.
Yeah.
Both of you keep doing what you're doing and keep listening to Laura, because we know she's the boss.
See,
we need it to grow. We need it to be all over the country, not in just. There's nothing in East Anglia. I don't think there's anything apart from Millwall in the South East. There's not much.
Yeah,
I know I've got a cousin who lives in Hadley as well. I should get monitored now.
Yeah, but I know. I've told you before. I think I put in a message. I stand and do my own and listen to the muster point. And I think, God, I wish this was. I'm laying I won't tell you what I'm doing in the bath, but I'm laying in the bath. Obviously, listen to it as well.
Are you laughing because he's doing the ironing? Are you laughing because he's listening, watching, doing ironing?
But no, I wish that was around when I left, because it would have filled a hole for me. Because as daft as it sounds, we're all out now, and we know what that means. But you don't know what that means when you're in, and then
you're out when you sign on the dotted line.
That's it. Yeah. I don't know how it works. Hello, Sarah. But no, obviously, when you do that transition, you don't realise how much of a void you're going to have in your life. So listening to something like the muster point for me has filled a gap. It don't matter if I was Army, RAF, obviously not RAF, Reg. Obviously I was Navy anyway, but
you were RAF, Reg.
I know they get hammered, don't they? But it still fills that gap. It fills a little void because we've all had shared experiences, albeit in a different uniform. Yeah. But we've all got similar attitudes towards everything.
They're not listening anyway. They're doing the 5 mile of death now.
Oh, true.
Exactly.
True.
Exactly.
So, yeah. No, I think it's really good, gents. Keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate that.
Thank you for your time. Keep doing what you're doing, and hopefully, what I want to do is get up to Sunderland and play football with me Luton shirt on.
More than welcome. More than welcome. Both of you, more than welcome.
I tell you what, the way they bullied us a couple of seasons ago in them playoffs, get yourself up with 2 Luton shirts on.
We'll do something.
Well, get up for the remembrance game next season if there is one. That'd be nice. But get in touch with Laura. Obviously, if you want to get a session up and running, or if you know anyone that does in the area, we'd love it, and we'll come down and give the advice or whatever we need. A bit like what we did with Millwall, didn't we? Went and helped them get set up.
Again, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And speak to you soon. Good luck.
Cheers,
guys.
Cheers.
See you later.
Cheers. See you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.